So let's talk about building better and why cross-functional collaboration is essential for building successful products and successful cultures. So in the next 20 minutes or so, I want to talk to you guys, first of all, about why is it so challenging for us in today's environment to cross-collaborate and to work together, both between designers and developers, but also to the rest of the business. And I want to break that down into two. So it's challenging because we have different methods, right? We have different functions for designers, developers, product managers. Everybody's working with different KPIs, different challenges. It's hard to stay aligned and work together. But the second part I want to talk about is why it's so hard to be data-driven and talk about data silos. After that, I want to share with you an example from home, how we at Monday.com build our products, how our product is quite a successful product that today serves over 150,000 paying customers, just to share with you a bit about our method and how we were able to deal with these challenges and continue to deal with them. And finally, I want to share with you how our product actually helps our team, not only to cross-collaborate, but to stay data-driven and make the right decisions. So there was a short introduction, but just a bit more about myself. So I lead our partnerships in Italy. Actually, my relationship with technology started in the IDF in the Israeli military, where I served for 3 years in the intelligence technology unit. From there, I moved on to Agritech, and then entered SaaS, first as a value-adding reseller as a consultant, and today at Monday. Fun fact, I work in 6 different countries, so not only AirPods, but if anybody's looking for travel tips for South Korea or Mauritius and a few other exotic places, you're welcome to stop by the booth. So let's maybe start with a question. I know you guys are after lunch, you might be a bit snoozed, but anybody want to share? I heard some nice remarks of people that stopped by the booth, but why is it hard for you to cross-collaborate, designers with developers, other functions in your organizations? Anybody want to chime in? Good point. Speak different languages. Are you a developer or a designer? Both. Anybody else? All right, it is after lunch. So, well, to answer your question, it's hard. It's freaking hard to collaborate with all these functions, both the product and the rest of the business. But let's start to talk about the method. And like you said, we're speaking different languages, so we have different methods of working, developers, designers, and as I said, other functions in the organizations. We have different KPIs. We're asking different questions. We're defining the challenges differently and therefore coming with different solutions, even though we're building the same product and we're trying to drive the business together forward. Now, let's just break it down into more practical examples that maybe you guys have faced in the past or face today. So how many times did you get a design from a designer that completely disregards dev limitations or product limitations? It can be a bit frustrating, right? I see people can relate. On the contrary, how many times did you think of a great design that speaks the language of our product, the experience we want our customers to have? It goes to dev, they're coding, we see the result, a lot of the parts of the design are missing, okay? So that's part of it. Now, on top of all of that, post-COVID, geographical location is no longer a barrier. It makes it so much more difficult to collaborate. So that's a bit about the method. But now let's talk about the second element of this challenge. And that's the challenge of organizational silos. So as I said, we all have to be data-driven to make the right decisions, both to create a successful product, but also to drive our business forward. Now, in today's world and the way we work, so we have all these different functions, yes, product functions, but also the rest of the organization. And we're all using great tools. God forbid we're using still Excel, trying to get that information from there. But is that data accessible to that specific team, to teams that are collaborating, to other functions in the organization? It's very, very hard. And I'll give you an example. We're trying to prioritize our backlog. We're trying to understand what's really painful for our customers from our client-facing teams. We're trying to understand which feature or product is going to enable how much revenue. Where is that data? Is it accessible? Is it visualized? Are we able to make those decisions based on that? So most organizations today have a big challenge of coming up with that data, and they're missing what we call a flat surface. They have all these great tools that are helping these teams communicate, work faster, overcome their particular siloed challenges, but it's not all linked together. So I want to share with you a bit how we were able to overcome these challenges at Monday.com, but maybe I'll take 20 seconds just to tell you who we are, or how our product has been successful so far, because I think a lot of you don't know Monday.com. So we've been around since 2014, went public a year and a half ago in NASDAQ. Our product today serves over 150,000 paying customers, over 1,500 people around the globe, and we have 300 people collaborating to build our great product. So let me introduce to you the Monday.com Builders Group and how our method is successful for us. So it wasn't all collaborative and cross-functional collaboration from the get-go. We had different functions, as I said, different KPIs. And to be honest, at times there was even a rivalry, and it wasn't always pleasant. But then we understood, OK, we need to work together. We need to better align, especially as we're scaling and growing. And then we started to work with autonomous task forces. Now, this might be familiar to many of you. But basically what we do is we borrow all the relevant functions that are in charge of a specific part of our product. Now, what did this allow us to achieve? Less distractions, and let's see a bit more of the impact that this helped us in terms of cross-function collaboration. So the first thing we saw was frequent and contextual feedback. What does that mean? No more working on a great design for 2 weeks, presenting it to the rest of the team, and then after a minute getting feedback, oh, this is not good. Not considering or understanding the thought process behind the design. So for now, we're working much closer together. Everybody's inputting and chiming in right from the draft stage. The second thing is alignment. We have, as I said, designers fully aware of product limitations as they're designing the process. And we have the dev team fully aligned with our brand identity, with our product terminology, what we want our customer to experience, and it's felt when they're coding. What it also allowed us to do, as we're scaling, we said 300 people trying to build a product together, we're much more agile. So we have these autonomous task forces that are aligned under one mission or one part of the product, and we're able to get that data that we need, adjust, reiterate, and continue to deliver fast. And the last point, I think, is the most interesting one. We're talking about innovation, and this is something that is not only about our builders group, but Monday in general. We were able to get extreme ownership and bottom-up innovation. How? Because everybody's working together. So it's no longer separate KPIs or separate tooling. Everybody has the same mission. And I can tell you that some of our greatest designs at Monday.com came from our developers. And our designers are eager for their input. But that's part of collaborating and building successful products. Now I want to share with you a bit about how our product team is connected to the rest of the business. Now, in Monday in general, we're a B2B product, but we have a B2C approach. That goes in our marketing, and all of you guys are probably going to be heavily targeted after this conference, so I'm sorry about that. But we're able to stay data-driven by collaborating closely with other functions in the organization. As I said, product-related functions, but also client-facing functions, legal, marketing, and more. What does that help us understand? What's painful for our customers? And as I said, prioritize, and basically, we're connecting the execution to the plan and the roadmap, which is a big challenge. Now, I want to give you a small example of what this actually surprised us as well. Are you guys familiar with NPS, Net Promoter Score? One hand up, most of it. All of you guys. So normally NPS, Net Promoter Score, is a client-facing KPI or metric. For those of you who don't know, it's basically a question we ask that pops up on the screen of our customers. We ask them, how likely are you to recommend Monday.com to a friend or a colleague? They get a scale out of 1 to 10. 9 and 10 is a positive response. 7 and 8, neutral. Anything below is a negative response. And then we follow up with a question, and we ask them why. And this turned out to be one of the best indicators for two things. One, what's painful for our customers? What do we need to improve to make sure they get a better experience? But also, what's working well? So when we're building on top of it, we don't compromise things that they like and enjoy about our product. When we took that into account when we're prioritizing our backlog, we saw that NPS score go through the roof. So now I want to share with you just a bit about our product, just to give you a bit of context. It's going to be 20 seconds, and then to see how it helped us connect, align, and truly stay data-driven. So Monday.com is a work operating system. Basically, what we are is we're an intuitive platform that has no-code building blocks that helps teams build their workflows that can be any vertical or any department. Though on top of that, we have automations that help us automate the process and work faster. And on top of that, we can integrate to other tools to make sure that that data is flowing from other dedicated tools teams are using to one central location to create a single source of truth. So what are those no-code building blocks? So with Monday, it starts with a board. A board is a dynamic environment where you can manage assets, we can manage a workflow, any type of process. It can be a task, a sprint, a project, you name it. Those boards come to life with many types of columns that help us manage information, numbers, who's assigned to the task, categorize, prioritize, etc. And now that we have a collaborative environment, we can actually give more flexibility and allow people within the team or different teams visualize the data and work on it in different views. So if you like Kanban, Gantt, calendar, you name it, we're still working on the same task in the same place, communicating in one channel, whether it's in Monday or integrated to other tools, which I'll talk about in a second. And it's all happening in one place. On top of that, we can visualize that data with dashboards. So if you want to see how we're managing our resources, who's working on what, identify bottlenecks, we can do that much better. And then we try to speed up the process with no-code automation recipes. Basically, fill in the sentence and automatically assign a task, notify about an upcoming deadline or an overdue deadline. And if you want to see more about that, again, we can talk about that later. We have forums to collect information from our users or from stakeholders in the organization about feature requests or bug reports, anything like that. We can centralize it all into one place and also control what information comes with that to make sure that we can effectively work on those problems. And I think this is where it gets really interesting. So we talked about how hard it is to be data-driven. We have so many great tools out there. And we have out-of-the-box integrations. So if our developers like to work on Jira, great. Jira is a great tool. Let's connect to it. Let's connect the execution to the roadmap. If our client-facing team or our support team is working with Zendesk, let's break that information into Monday, and from Monday to Zendesk, and many, many more. And if that's not enough, so we have an apps marketplace. So if we didn't develop something, we have an amazing community of developers that, on top of Monday, build integrations or more capabilities, like an integration to Figma, Azure DevOps, and many, many more. So this was just a bit about Monday. Now I want to show you what an example of cross-functional collaboration and how we can really create one unified workspace looks like.
Your developers love Jira because it helps them stay organized, collaborate, and get their work done. But the teams that work with them don't always find it as easy. And we all know what happens when communication across teams gets compromised. But now, there's a solution. When managing your work on Monday.com's work operating system, cross-platform collaboration is easier than ever. With the Monday.com and Jira two-way integration, your software development teams can sync with other departments and seamlessly work together to build best-in-class products and services. Product managers can gain insight visibility into all Jira projects. As they're updated in real time, they can visualize data in multiple different views, see project progress at a glance, track each developer's workload, and measure story points, all in one centralized place. Your customer support team can turn incoming requests and bugs into Jira issues for developers to work on, while maintaining complete visibility of their progress on both platforms. Designers automatically see Jira requests on their Monday.com boards. They can instantly share the assets they create and collaborate seamlessly with developers on any project. This robust integration creates one unified workspace for cross-functional workloads across all of your business units. Let your developers do their best work on Jira while staying connected with other departments on Monday.com WorkOS.
So guys, I tried to keep it precise. If you want to hear more about how you can better collaborate, if you want to hear more about our method at Monday.com and what helped us be successful to the point we are, and if you just want to win AirPods, I hope you participate in our competition. You guys need to guess how many Lego blocks we have in the jar. We're going to announce the winner later today, and he's going to win brand new AirPods. So you're welcome to come talk to us. So thank you for listening, and I'd be happy to hear any questions if you may have.